Year-old Afro-American, we used to say newspaper, but we are a media company. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, welcome. I am your host, Frances Toni Draper, CEO and publisher of Afro News. And usually I am joined by my co-hosts, Jay Jackson and Kevin Impeccable Peck, both of whom are traveling, but I have a guest co-host with me on today. And so I want to bring her on and introduce Lenora Housey. And Lenora, you can introduce yourself because I am so excited about today's show. And we say about the chicken, don't be a chicken, get on the box. Yes, it's spelled with 2 X's. I have my tea, but grab whatever, and after this show, you may want to grab whatever. Wait until you see who we have in store for you today. But Lenore, you want to introduce yourself? I'm glad you're here.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited as well. Lenora Housey, I am the executive / advertising director for the Afro, and the project lead, if you will, on the expo. So we're really excited to be speaking with our guest today and talking about the upcoming Black Business Matters Expo on the 14th. So glad to be here.
Wait a minute, Lenore, before we bring our guest on, you said expo, and you gave us a little bit of information and said Black Business Matters Expo.
Yes.
On the 14th. You want to tell us about it, or our producer Asia, you have a video you want to show us about it? Of what in the world are we talking about?
What is Black Business Matters? Well, this is our 5th annual Black Business Matters Expo, so that in itself is very exciting. It's also going to coincide with the celebration of Afro's 133rd anniversary. That too is very exciting. But we bring together entrepreneurs, business leaders, community leaders in a great space at the Reginald Lewis Museum on Thursday, August 14th. There will be panel discussions, there will be workshops, there will be a nice networking reception that you'll hear a little bit more about later in the show, and an opportunity for people just to connect and get information from a lot of our sponsors on opportunities and resources that you might not know about. So that's the whole objective of the expo.
Okay, so we have an expo. You mentioned something about a Reginald Lewis Museum that is in Baltimore, Maryland. So for those who are in the Baltimore area, if you go to Afrotix, Tix.live, Afrotix.live, that's the Afro's own proprietary ticket, what do you call it thing? Ticket platform. I don't know, Asia, if we can show the video now, which may say a little bit about the expo, because that's going to be our intro to some very special guests that we have with us today to talk about what they'll be doing at the expo and what we hope you'll be joining them for at the expo. So I don't know, Asia, can we do that now? Or do we need to? Okay, here we go. Get ready. It's coming. I think we have sound with this, right?
Yes, great music.
Okay. You might want Lenore to sing.
Sing along. No, I was going to say, you can sing along if you want to.
That was a little bit of it. Okay. Uh-huh. All right. So, look, all right, Asia, we're going to work out. We're getting a couple frames here and there.
Yeah, maybe we just put the ad up and then we'll work out the
we'll work out all right. You know what? Videos are great because we are a multimedia company and we do things with excellence. So we're going to get that together. But we have a treat for you today, even better than a video. Again, if you are just tuning in, if you're watching us on either Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, we're excited to have you here on this afternoon to this version of the Chicken Box. And so if we could get a drum roll, we want to introduce you to 3 of our guests who are on Chicken Box today. but they will also be at the expo on Thursday, August the 14th. The expo begins at what time, Lenore? 4:30, 5:30?
4:30, 4:30.
Afternoon. And you'll have had a hard day at work, some of you, even if it's just sitting in front of your computer, and you're going to want to know about our guests. So come on, let's meet our guests for this afternoon. All right, there's Drew and Jasmine, and then we need, and then here comes Sharmaine Taylor. Hey, how you all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
So good. So at the expo, and Drew and Jasmine, they're veterans. They were at last year's expo. But at the Reginald Lewis Museum, if you've ever been there, you know it's a multi-level building. Up on the 4th floor, there is a space that we're calling Sip and Say, where we will showcase Drew and Jasmine, Sharmaine, and other entrepreneurs that are in their field. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about them, but they're going to tell us much more about them. And so let me start with you, Sharmaine. And Sharmaine, you can help me when I start mispronouncing things. I hope I got your name. So Sharmaine Taylor is the founder of Noir Sunshine Wines. She's an innovator, winemaker, and a devoted mompreneur, a scientist, a certified sommelier by trade, and she's going to tell us what all that means. She's passionate about public health. She's got decades of experience. She's curious. She likes to uncover the underlying why of things. Now, here's why she's at the Sip and Say, though. She is a highly sought after wine industry expert. She's been on international stages. She amplifies the voices of women of color in the industry and all women. So she went from the laboratory to the vineyard. Is that right, Sharmaine?
That's correct. Correct.
Right. And so she's got so many things in her resume, but she produces, here you go for the Sip and Say part. Sharmaine, she produces natural, low intervention, whatever that means. She's going to tell us what that means in just a minute. Sustainable Maryland wines. Does that mean that you get one glass and you don't have to keep filling it up, Sharmaine?
I love that.
That's not what it means. Okay.
Not quite.
And then you also, I want you to meet, I think his real name is, his government name is Andrew, but as we can see, he goes by Drew, and Jasmine Dill. The name of their business is Liquid Intrusion. Y'all got these fancy, sexy names now. Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company. This is a husband and wife dynamite duo, right? And they co-own this company. They're the first Black-owned brewery craft beer company. Now, did I mess that up, y'all? I got it.
That's in Prince George's County.
Okay, we gotta add that. I know about qualifying language in Prince George's County, which is, if not the most, one of the most prosperous African American counties in the country, not just in the state of Maryland. And so they want to just push back on that whole narrative that says, this is beer has to be poor quality. People will drink anything. They produce a quality product, and they want to tell us all about it. And so their motto is, "May the liquid always prevail," whatever that means. I don't know. I told y'all I had my tea, right? Well, here we are, and to welcome, we're so happy to have you here. So we're going to kick it off. I'm going to ask Lenora, Lenora, what are you curious about, having heard these impressive backgrounds of a sommelier? Oh my gosh, it just sounds, so.
Sommelier, yes.
Sommelier, right. And liquid always prevailing. I don't know about y'all, but I'm curious. Okay, Lenore, what do you want to know?
Well, let me first say that I'm glad that you read that bio with sommelier. in it because I was like, okay, I'm not going to get that out right. But I think that just generally speaking, our audience might be interested to know, what is a sommelier and what makes that role in the wine industry unique from others? Sharmaine.
So awesome. I love to talk about being a sommelier. I prefer to go by Som Char. I think some people find that easier, especially after a couple of glasses of wine. But a sommelier is a wine expert in the industry. A sommelier can be well versed. You might pick a country of interest, perhaps Italy, Spain. You might be a sparkling wine or champagne expert. But for me, the wine world is so vast. So I didn't want to limit myself. There's so much wine out here to drink. I probably won't get a chance to try all of it, but I'm going to try. But the most important part of being a sommelier is the wine education piece, teaching about the different grapes, teaching about the different profiles, teaching about the different flavors. Because most often someone will try wine and they'll say, well, this tastes like berries, but what kind of berries? Because there's no berries in wine. I can assure you it's grapes, but there's no berries. So a sommelier can teach you how to train your palate to pick up the primary, secondary, and tertiary flavor profiles in wine. And we also take the mystique out of wine. You know, you find us in the hospitality industry, restaurants, industry experts, and now for myself, a winery owner here in Maryland. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's wonderful. When you said, I'm glad you finished that word owner. When you said wine, I didn't know. I said, where is she going with that? Okay, thank you. I mean, and I'm sure there are nuances. I've been to restaurants where people have ordered wine and they bring all this stuff and ask you, do you want this age and that age and that age? So, you know.
Yes, what vintage and profile.
Yep.
So it's exciting.
That's important. Listen, if you're just tuning in, this is the Chicken Box, powered by the 133-year-old Afro-American newspaper, the nation's longest published or posted African-American owned media company in the country by the same family. See, just like you all had to add PG County, we have to add family owned. Which brings me, let me give this shout out to Jasmine. Jasmine, I understand there are only like 13 Black women in the entire country to own a brewery.
That is correct. That's correct.
That is amazing. Tell us a little bit about your origin story. And Sharmaine will come back and what made you hop into this, not help you, or jumped into the barrel? No pun intended. What made you?
Very good alley-oop, I should say.
Right. Tell us a little bit about your origin story and how that happened.
Absolutely. So Drew and I here were actually high school sweethearts. So as he's grown into beer, I've been growing with him. So managing beer bars. He was a sales rep for a distributor in DC for a few years. He was, just pretty much everything beer related. And of course, when there's tap takeovers happening in the city, different incentives that he has to hit, I'm part of that group of guinea pigs that has to kind of figure out what my palate likes. Just like how we tell folks about beer, there's folks that say they don't drink it. You just have to figure out what you like. You have to put your palate through the ringer of what you like.
It's a lot of similarities of beer to wine.
Absolutely.
Right? So like in our world, we do have something like sommeliers. They're called cicerones, right? I'm a cicerone level 1, and the premise is pretty much the exact same thing as Sharmaine explained as far as wine, but just in the format as beer. There's so many different styles, things of that nature. And for me, being in the industry, growing up in it, I realized that being an African American in the space is, you don't really see that many people that look like yourself, especially in sales, especially being customer facing, dealing with the accounts. And we just did market research across the country of saying like, wow, Black ownership is less than 1% in craft beer. So out of between, spirits, wine, and beer, Black ownership in beer, we're kind of like the minority in a room full of minorities is the best way to say it. So out of that 1%, that's like what, 10 out of 10,000 breweries, only 86 are Black owned. Out of that 86, only 12 have brick and mortars. We're not one of them. And out of that 86, like you just said, 13 are Black women owned. We are fortunate to be one of them. So with that, we kind of had this calling and this thing about us like, hey, we really need to do our part in this industry and just bring awareness to it. And also just say, hey, Black people like beer too. We like quality beer, we like craft beer, and there are great social settings where beer excels compared to the wines and spirits of the world as well too, which they have their own experiences and things as well. So we don't impede on each other. We try to help each other and uplift. We know Sharmaine very well. we absolutely love her. But with that, we just wanted to do what everybody else does, but kind of do it in a space where it's really not recognized.
Wow.
Can I piggyback on a statement that Drew just made? Because, and this might be my own either personal bias or ignorance, but having grown up in a very multicultural environment where, African Americans were the minority, I've always associated beer drinking with those who are not of the African American culture, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the small amount of craft beer owners or distributors. Because do Black people, or is it just me, not think that beer is something that we consume as regularly?
It's more so what's been marketed to us.
Yeah.
So for us as a community, we look at, for us growing up, we've had aunties and uncles that, be hanging outside the liquor store, things like that, buying 40-ounce beers. So it's just things like that that's really deterred generations, the younger generations, of trying to like indulge in beer, right? But the perception of beer, like you said, like it's not kind of for us kind of thing, that's actually 100% false, right? So craft beer originated in Africa by African women, but like everything else, taken away and colonized. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to go into more detail about it, but that's where you're seeing this boom of Black ownership in craft beer, because we're how can I say it? We're reclaiming craft beer.
Yes.
I love that, the reclaiming of craft beer. I want to go back to you, Sharmaine, and hello to Blair, Carl Smith, Jewel. I saw your comment. Jewel has been with us since the beginning of Chicken Boxx. Always good to see her. I want to go back to you a minute, Sharmaine. You talked about health, and you were very concerned about us having healthy things as well. Can you say a little bit more about that?
So it was very important for me and at Noir Sunshine Winery to produce wines that were sustainable, locally grown, zero dosage, no residual sugar. As you know, in the African American community, and not only the African American community, but other communities and pockets with people of color, diabetes, heart disease, renal failure are big issues. So it was important for me that if I was going to make wine, that I wanted to make wine that was, in my opinion, sustainable in terms of I wanted to look out for your health. I did not want to be a Stella. I did not want to be a Barton Noir. I didn't want to be a raspberry, grape, orange, or pineapple wine. Okay. I wanted to introduce our culture to basically, like Drew said, these are craft wines, but in the wine industry, we like to use the term boutique. So these are boutique wines, which means that we do not mass produce them. Our grapes are grown locally on the Eastern Shore. I'm down there. As a matter of fact, I was down there this morning. That's why my hair might look a little frizzy, because I'm out there. I'm looking at my vines. I'm looking at my crops, because we harvest our grapes in September. And as you know, we've had a lot of rain this summer in Maryland. So all of us winemakers are getting a little concerned, right? Because our grapes, our vines are still out there. So local. And someone said, well, what do you mean? What I mean is that when you go pick up a bottle of wine, and I won't use another brand name, but when you go pick up a bottle of wine in Virginia, that bottle of wine in Hawaii would taste the same. But just think about it. Think about if a sandwich traveled from Virginia to Hawaii. I don't think we would want to eat that sandwich, right? So then you have to think about these wines that are mass produced. There are additives, there are chemicals, there are preservatives put in there to sustain those. We do not do that at Noir Sunshine Winery. And that's what we mean by low intervention, minimal intervention. We do dry irrigation, which means that we don't water our crops. We allow the vines to pull the moisture from the soil. And we believe that it's going to do what it's going to do. And I always like to tell people a running joke. Jesus made wine. He didn't have all this fancy equipment or pesticides. He turned the wine into water into wine. And so we like to think that we're using our grapes to kind of have that same premise, but not on that big scale.
Got it. I don't even think people think of people who are from metropolitan areas even think about vineyards and wineries any place, much less Black-owned vineyards and wineries in Maryland on the Eastern Shore. So thank you for that. I'm gonna come back and ask you about your origin story. Let me also say, hey, Rico, I saw that you tuned in, and Valerie, you tuned in. Thank you. Come on, tell your friends. This is a fascinating conversation. I don't know about you, Lenore, but I'm learning some things.
Well, first of all, we have a whole new vocabulary. I've been keeping track. I just heard Cicero for the first time. You might need to spell that for me. A boutique wine, right? No, this is fascinating. And I think what's going to be so great when you all are at the expo is it's not just to have people sample and hopefully purchase your product, but to give them a little bit of this education when they're at your booth, when they're talking to you. Drew, what you said about the origin of craft beer being from Africa, that was all new to me. And so this is why we like to bring different industries together at the expo so that we can learn from each other and give us even more reason to support each other in business. So this is great.
Right. So if you're in the Baltimore area, we really want you to come to the expo. You see this scrolling across your screen about purchasing tickets. I think the tickets are like $35. $35. So it's not. Drew and Jasmine and Sharmaine will have their products for sale, but probably also for sample, I would imagine.
For sure.
Absolutely. Why not?
So for sale and for sample. So Jasmine, I'm curious too. You talk about the stigma of the negativity and the poor quality. Sharmaine, you talked about poor quality. And it sounds like what you're saying to us today is you don't have to settle for that. You don't have to settle for that. So what would you want our audience to know? How, other than maybe it tastes different, but what other things about quality? Sharmaine, you talked a little bit about yours in terms of the quality of the vine or the grapes and all of that. Can y'all tell that I'm not a wine or beer drinker, but that doesn't mean anything.
We can teach you. We can show you the way.
Yeah.
We can bring you along. And actually, because I make wine now, I prefer craft beer when I go out. I never thought I'd be a beer girl, but
the funny part, when we're not drinking beer, we love wine
because it feels like work.
Yeah. Listen, that sounds good. But talk a little bit, either Drew or Jasmine, when you talk about the poor quality that's in our community. What are you? Not, doing, we don't need the brand name, but what's happening that we should be really aware of?
I would really say, just think of the larger name brands that people typically buy and they have at the cookout and things of that nature. What are they doing for the community? What are they doing for folks who don't look like them, right? Besides just making a buck off of them and just getting volume of sales and going from there. You're seeing folks who are local give back to their community. They pour into their community with their products, right? So yes, we do beer, but also, when we get our brick and mortar, we want to be a beacon of community. We want to be an incubator for other small businesses to come pop up and get on their feet, because we're literally doing it ourselves right now, right? And you don't see that with the large name brands. You see funny, cool commercials, but you don't really see the work being done.
And then additionally, for a lot of the, I guess you could say, more inexpensive brands that are at the bottom of the shelves, 40-ounce plastic bottles. A lot of it is pretty much the remnants of previous beers that have been brewed, and they'll just add additional harmful ingredients on top. And of course, everything's going to be $2, $2.50, and it's pretty much chump change back in their pocket. But at the end of the day, chump change to produce. But however, they're getting so much of the funds coming back to their pockets, the cycle continues. So we want to make something that is of more quality. It's not going to give you a horrible headache in the morning. And then, of course, all of our labels look very nice as well.
Yeah.
So.
Just one last tidbit, just to say, like, as far as certain ingredients and things that we want to do to show our community of like what we're doing. So like our flagship IPA is called the African Queen of Her Seven Seas. It's a play on words. It's the name of the hops that we use in there. So in beer, hops is a major ingredient. It gives aroma.
Women, back up. Say that again. You got to slow down for people like.
Sorry, I get excited.
I'm building a whole dictionary, but go ahead, Drew.
Got you. So our flagship IPA, which is a very prominent style IPA, India Pale Ale. Our flagship is called the African Queen and Her Seven Seas, which is a play on words. It's the name of the hops that we use in there, HOPS. Hops are the major ingredient that gives bitterness, aroma, and sometimes flavor to beer.
Thank you. What's the IPA?
IPA is an India Pale Ale. It's one of America's favorite style of beers, right? So like, just to give the umbrella of like how wine is, you have red and whites, you have ales and lagers, and then the umbrella spreads down from all the styles underneath it, right? So kind of like with wine. Grapes are kind of like hops for us, right? So they come from different regions, different hemispheres, things of that nature. And what's so special about our African Queen is that African Queen is a name of a hop that we get imported from South Africa. And you don't see a lot of other brands using South African hops. There are so many hops that go great with IPAs, but South African hops are perfect for IPAs, but we don't see these brands using them. Why? So we wanted to change that mode and go with it from there. So I really wanted to say that. I'm sorry.
So hops and IPAs and African Queens and South Africa. And okay, take us to school. I love it. And Sharmaine, we already been through your glossary somewhat. I'm sure there is more to that. And so both of you, so you own a brewery, Drew and Jasmine. Sharmaine, you own a winery. Talk to us a little bit. I know you'll tell us this at the expo on August 14th. For our viewers, if you're not excited, if you're in this Baltimore, Washington area, we call it DMV, and you've not purchased your ticket to the expo, it's worth it, $35. You will get samples from Sharmaine, Drew, Jasmine, and whoever's there. You can get your $35 worth. But Sharmaine, talk to us a little bit more about your why. And when you say you own a winery, what does that mean? And how do people access your product? I'm gonna ask both of you all that, not just on the 14th, but how do people, do they order it? Do they go into a store? How does that happen?
So we are, I would like to say, trailblazers. All of and I think it's 3 of us, or maybe 3. There are 3, maybe 3 to 4 African-American female winemakers and winery owners here in the state of Maryland. That is significant because the first Black winery in Maryland opened in 2021.
Wow.
Up until then, the last 68 years, there has not been any representation of winery owners. There are a lot of reasons for that. Number one, wine is very costly to produce and do it right. Number 2, land. We don't necessarily inherit 75, 85 acres of land. I think Drew and Jasmine talked about this. We don't necessarily inherit, right? We don't inherit those businesses. And so we had to come up with a creative way to do that. And so what we did when we say that we're a boutique winemaker, so that means that we are mobile. So that means you can catch us at local festivals, pop-up events. And some of us do have brick and mortar store, well, not necessarily stores, but wineries. We have our tasting studio in Patterson Park in the Baltimore area. And that is really huge. We did not want to be a retail space. We wanted wine to be an experience. We have never envisioned what wine looks like to us as a culture. It doesn't mean hay. It doesn't mean barns. It doesn't mean fields. Personally, for me, if you put me out in a field on a bale of hay, I don't know if I'm going to have flashback to what happened to my ancestors or not. I prefer to have wine in a nice, comfortable environment. Also, our flavor profiles are different because our culture and our experiences are different. So we're making quality craft beers, we're making quality wines, and the industry is taking notice. African Americans spend about $1.2 trillion a year in the wine industry, and that's for off premise sales. But we have less than 1% representation. So picking back off of Drew again, you see these commercials that are mass produced, and that's because advertising is also a hurdle that we deal with as small business owners. We don't have millions of dollars to make vast commercials and constant marketing, but we have quality products that are made from the heart that protect our community. That's another thing. Noir, we have community engagement. So 4 times a year, we what's coming up? We have our backpack drive. We also do pack the purses. We deliver them to the local women and children shelter here in Baltimore. In November, we support McVets, making sure that our veterans, the ones that have served this country, so that we can have these freedoms and liberties, have meals for Thanksgiving and the months that follow. And most importantly, Kennedy Krieger Institute, because being a mompreneur, I had a child that was born early, and we had to work with some developmental issues. And I saw that there was a disparity, as always, between African Americans. And I started a foundation. So 10% of each bottle of our wine goes back to Kennedy Krieger Institute to help other families with children with traumatic brain injuries. That's what was important. This is a legacy for me, Dr. Draper and Lenora. This is about my son. This is about this incredible 9-year-old that every day beats the odds. And I want one day to have my own vineyard in Virginia. I've kind of got some things planned, but I want to employ people with disabilities so that they know that they have a place and purpose in this world. And that is Noir. That's the mompreneur.
Okay, got it. That's wonderful. All right, that's right. That's worth applauding.
It really is. Thank you. Wow.
And in addition to that, how does someone get your product?
Online at www.noirsunshinewine.com. We're also in 14 Montgomery County wine and beer stores, spirit shops in Montgomery County.
Okay.
We're in Urban Grapes in DC. We're very excited about that. And we just closed a deal that now our wines will be carried in 2 Black-owned wine shops in Seattle, Washington. We're the first Maryland winery to ever have sales retail shops on the West Coast.
Congratulations. We want you to have advertising dollars as well, because Afro is a good place to sow your ad dollars. So thank you so much. Drew and
you don't need millions.
You don't need millions to
You don't need millions. Yes, there's so many opportunities, and because people really, I'm fascinated at your stories, and it's really something that people need to know, and so that they know why they should support you. In addition to getting great wine and beer, this is the underlying reason. And if I can ask Drew and Jasmine, because Sharmaine, you spoke very well of sort of your heartfelt why, and what you plan to do as a legacy with your business. Drew and Jasmine, what's your heartfelt why?
So it goes into our name, Liquid Intrusion, right? So liquid, we call beer liquid. That's just our thing, our niche. Being in the industry, it's kind of like a slang term behind the scenes. Like for sometimes in wine, they call wine juice, right? So for us, we call beer liquid. But then from there, we wanted to intrude on the market that's underrepresented of African Americans, with African Americans being less than 1%. So with it being in our name, we know what the mission is for us. We're here to intrude, and we've been doing that. Our slogan, "May the liquid always prevail." We don't care who you are, where you're from, your background, your orientation. We're all about the liquid. And if we stay true to that, may it always prevail. With that, you know, we are a contract brewery, so we don't have our own brick and mortar. We rent space out of another brewery. We contract brew through one of Maryland's oldest brewery, which is Oliver Brewing Company in Baltimore, Maryland. They brew all of our liquids to our spec, to our liking, and we get everything out by means of distribution. Been in the market for about like a little over 2.5 years. We're now available in Maryland, DC, and Delaware, servicing over 250 accounts.
So if you do visit our website, lipcobeer.com, it was scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We do have a map locator that we update once a week to show all of our accounts in Maryland, DC, and Delaware. We, again, in about 250 locations. In the 3 years that we've been in the, almost 3 years that we've been in the market, some of our notable accounts, we are the first Black-owned brewery in BWI Airport. One of our liquors is featured at the Firkin & Flyer on Concourse C. We're in all of the Whole Foods in DC, World Beers. We're in the Marriott International Headquarters in Bethesda, Southern Maryland Green Turtles.
Brass Taps all over Maryland.
I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
And then we have a very good concentration of Black-owned and small minority-owned businesses as well too.
Absolutely.
That we really, really try to focus on the most. That being Center Pocket in Bowie, Metro Bar in Washington, D.C., some really cool places. And then the things that we do outside of our flagship liquids, we're very big on collaborations, and we're very big on meanings behind these collaborations. So one is our Maryland Maverick. It's a 8% hazy double IPA. So a regular IPA.
Wait a minute. Go back now. I'm going to be like Dr. Draper. Slow down a little bit.
I got you.
What now?
So it's called the Maryland Maverick.
Okay.
It is a 8% hazy double IPA. So what that means is that hazy, meaning that there's haze, so it kind of looks like
juice.
Like juice is the best way to say it. Usually for us in the beer world, beer is clear, but you know, market trends change. We put some haze in there, we go from there. Double IPA, meaning that it's double the alcohol. So usually a regular IPA is anywhere between 5 to 7% ABV. A double IPA is at least 8% and above. And then you have triple IPAs, which I'm not going to get into. But this one here is a special one for us. This is a year-round collaboration with us, with a brewery out of Eastport, Annapolis called Forward Brewing Company. We brewed it to commemorate the governor. You know, we really wanted to lean into Maryland pride, right? So crab cakes, football, Old Bay. Governor Westmore gets a beer. Our governor gets a beer. How about yours, right? And we just really wanted to lean it into that. Like for us in our space across the country, the DMV is a very good pocket of craft beer. The scene is really great. There's camaraderie amongst all the breweries. Everybody's trying to lend a helping hand because we're all independents and we get what we're all going through. But the rest of the country doesn't know that. So we're really trying to, you know, plant our flag as Maryland and to the rest of the nation and say, this is what we're doing and how we support one another, especially if you're a Marylander or if you're a Maryland resident, and go from there. Some other things that we've done with our collaborations, we live in Southern Maryland. So we're in a little town called Brandywine. And we, right underneath Washington, D.C., we partner with all the Black-owned breweries here in the DMV. And we made a beer called the Chocolate City Porter. Just because, you know, Washington, D.C., cosmetically it's changing, but the soul remains the same. And I know you know what I'm talking about, especially if you've been to D.C. or if you're around the area. It's Chocolate City. It will always be Chocolate City. And that's what we pride ourselves on. And that's why we want to show our community that we're doing things for us.
Thank you so much. That's fascinating. When you said double haze, you know, I was glazing over. I was like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, we both were.
That was fascinating. And somebody put a comment. I hope you all saw the comment across the bottom. Said, this is what Black excellence is all about. What you all are doing is, there it is, perfect example of Black excellence. We're so proud of you as well, because these are not industries that you are that there are a whole lot of us in. I mean, you're trailblazers, and you're from Maryland, so kudos to you, and your whys are so powerful. Listen, if you're just tuning in, you're in the middle of this conversation, you're wondering what are we talking about, and in fact, who is talking about anything here today? It's that we're the Afro-American. Our legal name is Afro News. We're doing business as Afro News. We have a longer name, like they have these long names. We don't have all these fancy things like y'all have, though. But anyway, we're talking to Sharmaine Taylor, the founder of Noir Sunshine Winery, and Drew and Jasmine of LIBCO. Okay, that all stands for something, but after a while, you just get the acronyms. They are among our featured guests at the Afro's upcoming 5th annual Black Business Matters Expo. They will be there to talk about their businesses, to offer samples, to have their product for sale. And there's our other hosts weighing in. Impeccable said, congratulations. This is really revolutionary because it takes a lot of heart to step into business.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit from Jasmine, Drew, about you've been doing beer a long time. Jasmine, what were you doing before you got into this with your husband? And Sharmaine, I'm interested in your backstory as well, because you said you were a scientist before you became an entrepreneur. So I want to hear a little bit about your backstory.
So I'll be the one to say that surprisingly, even through Liquid Intrusion, we still hold full-time jobs. So during the day, I am a product owner for an online school. Pretty much what that means is I'm in IT. I take care of the folks that take care of the people. I take care of tickets, any enhancements that will improve your day-to-day duties. So being the co-owner and co-founder of my own business was definitely a learning curve. I am an introvert at heart. And even during the day, if you need to get in contact with me, you'll send me an email, send me a chat. So I'm pretty much behind the scenes, and then having to completely go 180 and being the one to reach out to folks to do the contact was a little bit of a learning curve, which I am appreciative of what it's taught me so far. But pretty much, yes, my background is in IT.
Okay, that's good to know. Sharmaine, tell us a little bit about what you were doing before this. And
so, yeah, decades. I hate to say that. I might be aging myself, but decades in health and human services, scientist for the federal government for 24 years. And science and wine go together. It's just a natural fit. And very important what Jasmine said, a lot of us African Americans who are starting businesses have to keep our 9-to-5s until our businesses can support our lifestyles. And that's just the reality. We do not get the venture capitalists. We do not get the funding. We do not get the loans. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring that up, because we're coming August 14th to talk about Black Business Matters. And that is a huge matter to help us get ahead. Also, if you can tell, I have a little Southern accent. I am originally from Virginia. I was educated, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, go Retrievers. And I like to tell people, because when I say University of Maryland, it's like the Terps. No, we're the Retrievers. Terps athletic, but we are the only honors university in Maryland. So shameless plug for UMBC. But the science stemmed from my grandmother. My grandmother, I'm a second generation winemaker. My grandmother started making wine in 1926. And that was taboo for women in the South at that year to make wine, to be owners. And our matriarch is our homage to her. This is her. This is our matriarch.
Right.
This is a picture from 1926. This is our red Bordeaux blend. She was a Leo, and her birthday is August 14th. So how happy I was to get this opportunity to talk about the matriarch. It's bold. She was a Leo. It's bold, it's spicy, it's dark, it's jammy, about 16% by consumption. Because if you're going to drink wine, you might as well drink it for a purpose. But science, it's just a natural, I think, pathway to winemaking. I have a few wine friends who are winemakers in Virginia, female winemakers who were in chemistry, who have similar backgrounds, chemistry, biology. It's just natural. We love to see how we put things together. And in this case, we're putting grapes together. We're putting yeast strands together to build all of these tertiary flavors. And so science has afforded me that opportunity. But I will say that my best job is being a mom. I feel like that's the most sacred position that anybody can have, being a parent in general. And both of them keep me very busy because Noir has turned into my baby at this point in time.
So you have a 9-year-old and maybe a 4-year-old, right?
Sharmaine, I'm really glad that you mentioned the disparities in terms of access to resources and grants, and the challenges that may be unique to Black entrepreneurs. Because one of the things that one of the reasons we actually started the expo 5 years ago, and we started it during the pandemic, because a lot of people were trying to discover, what sort of side gig can they start. A lot of people who were in businesses, their businesses didn't survive, their companies may not have survived. And so it was just a way to bring people together to talk about, okay, what are some of our unique challenges? But then again, what are some of the resources that we may not know about? And so what people can expect when they come on August 14th to the Reginald Lewis Museum, to the expo, is to hear from people like you, not just about your product and your service, but your experience and some of the things that you are doing or have done to add to your success track. Because everyone in there, whether they are an emerging business or a legacy business, needs to know and hear from one another what are some of the things that you've done to become successful. So we're really looking forward to hearing from you, in addition to seeing and sampling your product.
Okay, so that brings me to we're almost finished. We're almost done for this segment, and so you all can get prepared, because at the end we're going to ask everybody just to get on the box. You can talk about what we've been talking about, or you can introduce a whole new subject if you like, but it's your time to get on the box. But listen, going into business is scary. A lot of people have a lot of good ideas, write them down, and now they get chat to help develop a business plan. But it's a pretty scary venture. Tell me a little bit about what your greatest challenges are. I mean, you said about some of them, certainly not being as large, not having ad dollars and all of that. But if you had to just pinpoint one challenge that you said, you know what, if I could just get past this one thing, I think that we are really, really good. And good afternoon, Dr. Wharton, I see you. Sharmaine, what would you say? What's this one thing, if there's such a thing? If there is.
Brick and mortar, commercial lease space, affordable commercial lease space.
Okay. Where would you put it, Sharmaine?
Down in the Baltimore Peninsula.
Okay, in the peninsula.
Right there by the water.
Okay. Oh, that's a cool place. I see the video. It looks like it's going to work. We'll look at that in a minute. Right there by the water, the Baltimore Peninsula. What a great spot. Drew and Jasmine, what would you say?
The exact same
thing. I
was
going to say, in addition to that, I was going to definitely say access to capital. A lot of the grants that have been forwarded to us, even those for the small businesses, small minority-owned businesses, a lot of them don't cater to alcohol. So we'll put in the blood, sweat, and tears to complete the application. Some of them ask for video packages. Some of them ask for pitch decks. And then we get to the fine print towards the end, and they said excludes alcohol or alcohol not included. So go ahead.
I would even say celebrities coming into our spaces as well, too.
Yes.
It is, I like to see it, but it's very nerve-wracking because the amount of work that we put into this, to be on the shows, to be in BWI, to be in all these accounts or whatever the case we have going on, And then, you know, you see a celebrity comes to town and the line is wrapped around the door for him.
A building.
A building, you know.
Mhm.
And that same owner of that liquor store or that bar, whatever the case may be, won't give me a snowball's chance.
Yeah.
Mhm. So access and opportunity, right?
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. And that goes back into like the whole thing of like, okay, what are they doing for your community? And, you know, I don't want to knock the next person. They got their fame. I get it. You know, they've definitely grinded for it and they want to try to find a new venture. But it's really, really hard to not even have them reach out to us to ask or get questions or try to partner on things and go from there.
So anyway, so they're doing kind of like the drive-by or the flyovers or whatever, you know, coming through our communities.
Well, some of them are us. Some of them are us, a part of our community.
Okay. Yeah, they're part of the community, but they're not.
You know, you can't sell your stardom to put a label on a bottle or can and have it marketed to your community and not know whether or not it's helpful or hurtful. And I think that's what we're trying to say as a community. As a community, let's support. Let's put the unity together. That's what we have to do as a community.
Well, that sounds like something that we all can sing from that sheet of music, because even with the Afro, you also go across the bottom. A whole lot of people that say, we love the fact that we have Black press. We love that you do Chicken Box, but they won't buy a $40 subscription. So, you know, or I don't know how much your product is, but they won't spend it for that. So for $40, you know, less than the cost of 2 Uber Eats. And here's one of our co-hosts, Impeccable Peck. I know you've been listening. You want to give a comment as I bring up supporting Black businesses? Impeccable is one of our hosts for the Black Business Matters Expo.
I'm sorry, I just got in. Congratulations, you guys. Can you hear me clearly?
We can.
Yeah, whenever you're on the hotel Wi-Fi, you never know what's going to go. But the conversation is so good. And I feel I was backstage, and then when he started talking about the celebrity part, I said I had to jump in because most of the celebrities, they don't care. I mean, they're not caring or going another layer to see about what a person's doing in the community. They're usually just picking up a check. And
Endorsement.
And an endorsement or a license in their name or something like that. So, you know, I guess we need some celebrities for you guys.
Let's bring them out. But also, Dr. Draper, I do want to say, I grew up seeing my grandmother, my mom read the Afro newspaper, the actual newspaper. So I was so excited about this opportunity when I saw that. I grew up. I know what Afro News is.
We still produce an actual newspaper. It's
paper. And
we're interested in it, you know, where you can subscribe.
So that's phenomenal. And I'm going to get a subscription. I did not know, but I'm going to get a subscription
today. So it shows like this, that if it's just one more person that knows about you now, then it's one more person who can tell another person, who can then tell another person. You know, a lot of times we have the best products, but what our marketing still has to get into the places that people know. And there's a lot of times African Americans think that you're slighting the business, opposed to they just don't know that you exist. Now, when you know a person exists, then now you have a choice of another brand to shop, right? So everything is still in the marketplace is about your preference of where you want to spend your money. But if something is of equal product and it's, you know, I haven't tried, I'm not really a drinker, but I know a lot of people who do, you know, have wine and have beer. If it's comparable and you know it's a Black-owned business, then being Black, you should at least support it. That's my thing. But everybody's not gonna, you know, they might be Pabst Blue Ribbon people or whatever. But we just have to get in our own circles where we know that we make these things. And
so it sounds like doing the Boxx and they're
I'm finished. I came in with the whole thing. Thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I'm gonna yield my time on the Boxx to the video whenever it is, and then we'll do that at the end.
Well, we were trying to get the video to work, and
did y'all get it to work, Asia? Did you get it to work?
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay.
Just show the ad. Show the ad if she doesn't have the video ready. Can you?
I'm
Can
still
she
gonna
share
do.
the app?
Yeah, I'm gonna yield my time. Oh, here she's showing. Okay, so I don't know how many of us can see it. I'm squinting a little bit. But this, so we're celebrating our 133rd. And listen, we at the Afro, 133 years, 4 years, 5 years, we have some of the same challenges. We're still a small minority, not minority, Black-owned business. Let's call it what it is. And so in this non-DEI, anti-Black, can't use this word, can't do that. Look, y'all, we better wake up. If somebody wants to erase woke, that's their issue, but and support our own. But these are some of the featured guests and speakers that are going to be there. I'm at the top, Impeccable is down there at the bottom, and a whole lot of folk in between. So go to afrotix.live. Okay, I am off the box. I want to I want to yield to Drew and Jasmine and Sharmaine. But before we get to you guys to have the last word, Impeccable, you have anything else on the box? We got about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna ask Lenore.
You guys go out and support these beautiful Black businesses. Give them a try. You don't know if you like it. And I know another friend who went to high school with me who was trying to do a brandy, and just the challenges he had just with the distribution companies. I don't know if you guys talked about that earlier, but it's kind of like the old days of the mob in the record business. You know what I mean? They're not going to let your stuff get distributed without going through them, which is a whole
Yes.
another show. But that holds back a lot of our Black owners, because we can't get into all of the spaces that we need to get into because of the distributors who keep us out. So I don't know if y'all touched on that, but
Not to the same extent, but you're exactly right. It is about access. That's why we gotta own our own stuff and just remember where we came from. So the next person knocks on the door, we don't deny access to them. We're
right.
doing it to ourselves. Lenore, you're on the box for 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna go to you and Jasmine and Charmaine. You'll be the last person in the box for today. So Lenore, you got 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you're on the box.
Well, first of all, again, thank you for having me as a guest host today. And I would just say to those of you on the box and to our audience, the expo on August 14th at the Reginald Lewis Museum, 4:30. It starts at 4:30, but the whole premise of the expo is to discuss the kind of things we were talking about today. And for Sharmaine and Drew and Jasmine, I hope you get an opportunity to visit some of the sponsors, because they are coming knowing that they need to have information and resources to help Black businesses. And so Goldman Sachs 10,000, PNC Bank, Fulton Bank, they will be there with information that may be helpful to you. So all of you come, and all of you in the audience, afrotix.live.
All right, thanks, Lenore. Okay, Drew and Jasmine, you're on the box for your final words.
Just want to say thank you all so much for having us here. It's a truly legendary thing that you all are doing, and we're super excited to be coming back for the second time in a row. That means the world to us. With that, to anybody out there, please give us a follow on social media, Liquid Intrusion Brewing Co. on any social media platform that you choose. We do have a map locator of all of our accounts on our website. And we are excited to say that we have announced our capital raise as well, too. And all of that information is on our website as well. So please, libcobeer.com. May the liquid always prevail.
May it always.
We'll see you at the expo.
All right, thank you. Jasmine, did you have anything you wanted to add, or were we moving on? Or did he say it?
He said it all. I don't have to take care of anything else. That's my better half, I should say.
Oh,
Okay. Oh. All right, Sharmaine, you get the final word on the box as we wrap up.
Awesome. Thank you. Support costs nothing. Follow us on our social media at noirsunshinewinery.com for the website, IG Noir Sunshine Winery. Also, we want to be known just for making Black products, but we make quality wine, not necessarily Black wine. We make wine for everyone to enjoy. The quality is impeccable. And at the end of the day, Noir is French for Black. Sunshine needs no explanation. Noir sunshine. Darkness and light can exist, and it's beautiful. Cheers. See you at the expo.
Love it. All right, Impeccable, you always give an admonition to all of us.
Man, no, I was just I was laughing when she said it's not a black wine. I was thinking about putting some Kool-Aid in it. Maybe then it'll be a little, then it'll be a black wine. But no, look, if you haven't called or hugged a senior, go by and stop by and see your seniors. They really would love to see you and hear from you. And sometimes it seems like we call them only when we need something, but just they're home and they would love to hear from you. Thanks everybody for tuning into the Boxx. I'm glad I got a chance to get on. The Black Business Expo is a highlight in our community, and it's what we need to do to come together to really increase our financial stability, because nobody's coming to save us. So go to afro.com for less than $2 Uber Eats. Get your digital subscription. If you gotta have the paper, $100. It's just $100 for the whole year. It will come right to any address that you want it delivered. We're not owned by anybody. If these platforms shut down, afro.com is still going to be happening if they want to shut us up. But right now, you guys are on Facebook, so we're on Facebook. We're going to try to be everywhere you are so you don't have to look for us. Thanks again for tuning in. Lenore, Dr. Draper, Sharmaine, Drew, and Jasmine. We got to do a couples business show one day. See how many power couples in business. That might be at next year's expo. A highlight of being married together and working together. That's probably a really good mix if you can stand it. If you can stand it. Dr. Draper.
So until next time, I know you all will tell everybody they can come back onto the platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and they can watch this again and again and again, and you can as well. So thank you everyone for being on. Thank you for being on the Boxx. And like we say, don't be a chicken. Get on the Boxx. Take care. Until the 14th. See you then.
See you then.